Hello everyone. So let's discuss the second question of the CP contest that is named Turn Me On. So the problem statement reads as follows. You have NO 101 class every Saturday. Assume that NO 101 class is of 120 minutes. In every class, 15 people are supposed to put on their camera and perform the exercise. All students have to exercise for exactly 8 minutes. Assuming all the students are sincere and they turn on their camera once asked. So the first 15 people turn on the camera in their first week, then next 15 in the second week, and so on. So the students are assigned the roll number starting from 2003101 to 2003250. So in total there are 150 students, and if 15 people are turning on their camera every week, so we have the students will exercise, each student will exercise for 8 minutes, and 15 people into 8 will be 120 minutes. Then the course runs for 10 weeks, because since we have 15 people turning on their camera every week, so 15 into 10 weeks, 150 students will be covered. So input, it says that first of all, what we have to output for each test case, we have to output the week's number you need to perform the exercise. So given your roll number, you have to output in which week you have to turn on your camera and perform the exercise. Input format says we are given the integer t, which denotes the number of test cases, and for every test case we are given an integer roll number that lies between 2003101 and 2002250 inclusive. So the sample input says we have 5 entries. So first is 2003101, so he will perform the first week. Then the 104 roll number will also perform the first week. Then 145 roll number will perform the third week, 107 the first week, and 198 will perform in the 7th week. So if we think about the approach to solve this question, so first we need to find that what is the index of that person, if they stand in a queue, so what is the number of the person. So that we can easily get if we subtract the particular roll number and subtract from it 2003100. So we will get, like, if a student roll number is say 2003105, so he will be the 5th person to come in to turn on his camera. So like that we first get the number of the person in the queue, and then if we divide it by 15, so since we have for every student, for 150 students we have a batch of 15 students each. So if we divide his index by 15, we will get the batch he will perform. But there is an issue, like if we divide the first batch by 15, we'll obviously get 0, and I am talking about dividing in the terms of, like, if we use the C++, if we divide, we get a integer output. So what we can use is we use a float division, and finally we output the ceiling function, like the greatest integer function. So for like the student, any random student from 1 to 15, like 14 by 15 will be like in real maths it will be something point something, like, but in C++ it will, when we use the ceiling function, it will, or the greatest integer function, it will turn to 1. And it also helps us to conquer the corner case when the particular student, like that 15th student, so if we divide 15 by 15 we will get 1, and the greatest integer function of 1 is 1. So in this way we can solve this question. So let's try to code it. First of all, let's code it in Python. So first we get the input of the number of entries that we are given, then we run a loop, and we get the roll number of the student in every iteration, and then let variable temp, which denotes roll number minus 2003100. We get the index in the queue, the index of the student in the queue, and we divide it by, okay, so yeah, I don't need these brackets. And then what we have to output is print. Then since we have to print the ceiling function, so we will use the math library of Python, and finally temp by 15. So Python, when we use the single slash in Python, it automatically divides and we get the float integer. So but for using the math function, we need math library, we need to import it. So let's try to run our code. Okay, so it's run successfully. Let's submit it. So it's run successfully. So let's code the same solution in C++ now. Okay, so it's already, I have written it. So we take an integer input n and we input that n, then we run a for loop for n entries, and every time we input a roll number, and finally we print out the we subtract 2003100 from roll number divided by 15. And since C++ the division method in C++ returns an integer, so we use 15.0 to tell C++ that we want a float division and not an integer division. Otherwise this particular function will always be, well, if we don't use the float 15.0, so it will always be evaluated to an integer and we will get a wrong answer. So we use a 15.0, C++ considers it as a float division, and finally we take the ceil or the greatest integer and we output it. So let's run our code. Okay, so it runs. Let's submit it. Okay, so it's run successfully. Also there is one more method. Instead of using ceil, you can also check, like if you can subtract 2003101 from the roll number and then divide it by 15 and check if it's divisible by 15 or not. If it's divisible, then you have to increment the answer by 1, and if it's not divisible, then that particular will be the answer. It's a bit tricky one, because you have to think of the corner case, like what will happen if my student has the index 15, 30, 45 like that. So instead ceiling function can be used to minimize this, minimize the error. Okay, and talking about the time complexity, so for every test case we are taking an input and we are printing it, we are printing the solution by using one calculation only. So the time complexity will be O of t. So, thank you.